Hello, 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 hello. I don't know what the hell just happened. Bro, I don't even know what is just happening. It just ended. It just ended and then I can't even do this. Bro, what is going on? Okay, I don't even know. Literally everything just like disconnected. Alright, well, I don't know. I guess I'll just find another spot just to sit in. So it's so dumb. I'm about to almost end anyway, but guy just stands here. This is kind of a shit looking spot. Um,
A new part of the safe house is now available to use.
Freedom Fighters. You know, I actually never played this game before. I've what you call it? I've seen it like online, but I never actually played it. And see, hide. What the fuck? Like, he just goes under the covers. Oh, now that I see that, well, I'll speak about that after, because it reminds me of Control. But I'm basically almost done with the Genshin stuff, so I just do some random ass stuff. Can't even get rid of all these other boxes. Alright, let's see exactly what this is. Okay. Alright. That's so weird. You know what they need to add to this? I know I said it a couple times, well, like in different streams, but because in Metal Gear Solid, there was what you call it? I forgot what it is. There's a name for it, but I know you infiltrate people's bases and then you attack it, and then you could do like a whole bunch of stuff. So I wonder, like, if their intentions was to try to do something like that with this, but then it didn't work well, or maybe who knows, maybe they work still working on it. But that's what they should do. They should I don't know if they could do it PvP like how Metal Gear Solid was. That might be really difficult to do. But what they could do is like maybe you could hire like a mercenary group and then that group would attack a person's base and then like even vice versa, like someone could hire a mercenary group and then attack your base and then you will have to go through like all these like ladders and windows or whatever and you have to defend your base and kill like a certain amount of attackers. So yeah, they should add something like that. But I don't know. That might be too too complicated or something. I'm not entirely sure. But anyways, okay, back to the whole Genshin stuff before it literally just ended stream for whatever reason. Um, so yeah, so it was oh damn, I don't even remember. Oh, it was the lore about the two new artifacts and the weapons. The weapons I still haven't read. I did screenshot it. Um, which no, I don't have enough time because I gotta get ready like soonish. Yeah, because once I start reading it, I'll dissect it and then I'll be here forever. So I'll read the weapons later on. Um, actually, I don't know. Maybe I'll stream on YouTube today later. Um, maybe Twitch. I don't know. Maybe not. Probably YouTube. Definitely tomorrow would be Twitch because it's the new Star Rail update. So I'll be playing on my main account. But anyways, I did read the artifacts. So the artifact set that's for the Hexus Circle members. It's basically about the stuff happening like literally right after um Decorabian uh fell in Old Mondstadt. Like as soon as they overthrew it, then basically almost another catastrophic event was gonna happen. But then Venti rose to power and he started playing his lyre. And once he was playing it, actually, hold on, let me pull up the screenshot. That it was like so powerful that even Isharoff was surprised he did that. So this whole thing about Isharoff and Venti, well, actually, the theory could be true, but I don't know. From what the stuff that I saw, I don't think so. Let me see. But yeah, the whole theory about them being the same person, I don't think that's accurate. Where is this thing? I know I saw it. Hmm. Oh, okay. It was. I see it, but I don't. I want to try to give. Okay, so Venti is playing the lyre and he's reciting some poem. Um, and Venti uh was singing against the sky because that's when Calamity was happening, right after Decorabia died. So, well, just really quick, I know it's a little bit of a sidetrack, but it seems like Decarabian actually was trying to save Old Mondstadt because throughout this whole entire like set of like you reading through it, because the first two parts, which is, I'll tell you exactly, the goblet and the sands, is talking about what happened right when he died. Then the flower and the feather is talking about the people that was siding with him, but now they're pledging their loyalty towards Venti. And then the very last one, the fifth, which is the crown, that one is in the perspective of some woman that was basically the king's or Decarabian's like right hand, like assassin, and she did all this stuff because she thought that both of them was in love, but then she figures out that she was only being used by Decarabian. So then that's when she decided to betray the king. That's basically like a very simple synopsis of what all of them is. But yeah. Anyway, so back to Venti playing the lyre. Oh yeah, because I said that because it seemed like Decarabian actually was protecting Mondstadt. Because as soon as he died, like the literal second he died, there was basically calamity coming and approaching to destroy um old Mondstadt. And then that's when Venti rose up, was playing the lyre, singing while also playing it. And then I'll read this part from the artifact set. Since mortal flesh cannot surpass the divine throne, since the song of this moment cannot halt calamity, let countless moments of heartfelt wishes link through countless eras and countless yearnings for freedom, dilute the piercing hatred of an instant, like drifting petals scattered across time. The youth himself the instrument, which the youth is referring to Venti. The youth himself the instrument, struck the strings once belonging only to the master of time, Isharoth. No, no, no. The master of time is a Decarabian. The next part is Isharoth. Even the mother of 1,000 winds was astonished, casting a fleeting glance toward the desolate northern lands, and their fierce and instantaneous gall transformed into a millennium-spanning gentle poem of winds, becoming the breeze that caresses clear springs and fruit wine, the distant rustle of pines, and pastoral songs across green fields, a sword piercing the nobility and the poisonous dragon, ancient oaths and lover sighs. The dawn of daybreak marks the first note of this grand millennium long symphony. Its name is Mondstadt, and all hearts that cherish freedom are its players. And then the rest of the stuff is just talking about, other stuff. But yeah, once the part that talks about he's playing the strings of time, then all of a sudden Isharov casts the gaze upon Venti. To me, that wouldn't make sense if they were the same person. Because if they were the same person, then she should have been watching this whole entire time. But she only realized and then gazed upon old Mondstadt when Venti started playing the lyre. So they could be connected, but them being the same person, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. That I don't know. But yeah, there was that part, And then in the part when the people were basically what you call it, like like oh my god, I'm like getting twisted all over my words now. Um oh my god, why am I stuck on stupid? When they were when they were saying that they're gonna join Venti and basically become like his army. Uh they mention a couple of things I've literally never even heard of before. And there's this one part that's very interesting because I wonder what this means. But I'll get to that after. There's something that they mention about a Gandhi clan. I don't know who the hell that is. I tried looking that up. I don't know. Lawrence clan, obviously. Uh, because the clan that's basically proclaiming them to be like the personal army of Venti is called the Gun Gun here dear whatever gun whatever. I'm just gonna call it Gun. That's the clan that's proclaiming to be loyal to Venti, and they're criticizing the Godney clan. I don't know who that is. Um. Oh, that's interesting. Because on the last part with the crown, there was a woman, or there is a woman that was basically like the assassin of Decarabian, or personal assassin, and she killed a craftsman who offered her a clockwork bird made of pure gold, begging for his life. And she took the bird, but they chopped off both his hands, and then they destroyed the bird because the king didn't want such a toy to exist, which is pretty interesting. Uh, that seems like a much deeper thing, but that's for another day. But I just mentioned that because when it mentions the Godney clan, it says, "We will not, like the Godney clan, offer up exquisite songbirds wrought of pure gold." So that means that the assassin that chopped off the dude's hands were a part of the Godney clan because he offered her a pure gold clockwork bird. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even catch that the first time. But yeah, it mentions that clan I never heard of before. The Lawrence clan I've heard of. It mentions sanctuaries like Broaddeary. I never heard of that. Or a different version of this Broaddeary called Hitone. Never heard of that before. Um, and then the last part, it mentions in the name of the descendants of Great Arcadia. What is Great Arcadia? Because do you know what that kind of sounds like? So now that makes me wonder. I know it's a little off topic, but it does connect to what I think Arcadia could be. Because it sounded like angels were going across all over Tibet and helping that leader, like tell them the quote unquote forbidden truth, and they were creating some new realm of like everlasting, like abundance and joy and no war and whatever. Because in Not Cry, it's Elysium, and Sumeru, it's oh, fuck, what's it called? The thing with Deshret and the Goddess of Flowers were doing. You have that one, and Fontaine Romeru, Economia. Then you had the Golden City and Leeway, or well, it is the Golden City, but it's called Forgotten City now. And Leeway, and then it sounded like Mondstadt's version of like this holy land that nothing bad could happen is Arcadia. So I wonder, but like with me saying all this, I wonder if all the angels, like literally all of them, was actively against the heavenly principles and creating these like secret realms like under their like under Celestia's like noses. Huh. Yeah, that's pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, there's that. And then you have Columbina's artifact set, which talks about the three moons and what was happening from the three moons perspective when Nubelong left, when he came back, and then even after Nubelong was like defeated. Because this is actually very, very, very interesting. Because when I first read this, I thought it was probably maybe like the second or third descender, but it's actually the first descender that they talk about. And it's very interesting in how he came back, or how he came to Tibet, not came back. Um, Let me see. Because he came back on this thing that I don't even know what the hell it is, honestly. Oh, just really quickly, it also mentions about an arc that when the primordial one came, then an arc came after, kind of like Ashikai's whole theory that Celestia is kind of like a, not exactly, but a little bit of like a biblical version of Noah's Ark. So that's pretty interesting to think about. Um, Let me see. I wanted to. Mm, Actually, you know what? I'll read. Yeah, I'll read basically a majority of this. So this is the Sands artifact for Conlabina's new set. I'm not gonna read the whole entire thing. I'm gonna read a majority of it though. But it says, once there was an age in which the silver wheels that guided the primordial ferment was still three in number. Primordial ferment is the age of Nubelung. In that time, the primordial dragon, born of the perfumed sea, that's actually extremely interesting because it basically sounds like the water of Tibet is what created the primordial dragon. And if the theory is right about the worlds flipping like upside down, like in a cycle, so the sun is above and then the moon is under the water, but then when a cycle happens and it turns, the sun is under the water and the moon is above the sky. That's something else entirely. But If that is correct, then I wonder if Nubalong being born in this perfumed sea, was he born from the abyss or was he born from when the sun was under the water? It's just just stuff that my mind goes through. But anyways, in that time the primordial dragon, born of the perfumed sea, soared through the deep void, vanishing into the interstellar mist. The dark-hued fog was so profound that even the starlight filling the heavens could not escape its pull. To find an answer before this planet, too, was devoured, the great dragon resolved to set out alone upon a bitter journey. From the world below he raised three radiant moons, binding this small world tightly with the tethers of the tides. Moonlight would shine upon the fertile lands throughout the long night of the end, until the roaming dragon returned from the land of mist. Yet millennium after millennium passed, and the three sisters of the moon never saw their former lord return. This is talking about the first descender, and it's very, very important in what he arrived in or on. Because I have no idea what the hell this is. I tried looking it up and I really couldn't find anything. Until that day, when a winged descender arrived, treading upon the morning star. What in the hell does that mean? What is this morning star? And the descender has wings? So is it like the traveler? Like how they have wings? Which kind of makes sense, especially because I have a theory that, well, I have a bunch of theories about descenders, but just really quickly, without going into a whole, yap fest about that, because, I gotta start getting ready pretty soon. But, just really quick, I think that, oh, hold on. Now that I'm here, I have the perfect way to explain this. Because I think Tibet is happening in loops. Well, in some form of loops. But then not in full, I don't know how to explain it, like full entirety loops. Okay, so you see this like a circle, right? But, hold on. Okay, well, let's you just see like this. You see how this is a circle? So this would be one full perfect loop. Tibet is not happening like that. Tibet is happening like the loop, but besides connecting and stopping right there, it goes on and create another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then another. That's what I think is happening. So I think it's going fully around, right? But then besides stopping, it continues and it creates another one, and then another one, and then another one. I know I'm kind of like fucking up the circle, but that's what I think the loops is. So like I said, it's not one full perfect one because once it connects here, then it goes and makes another loop and then another one like that, you know. That's what I think the loops is and Genshin, especially Tibet. But the reason why I say that is because I think that since everything is in a loop and it's still connecting, that the primordial one, like his like body and soul is technically Ether and Luming, which is the fourth descenders. But yeah, that's a whole different subject. Oh, and now that I say that, because I know before I was theorizing that Danslif and his brother is probably like the body and soul of the primordial one, and no, it's not. It's actually Nubalong. Danslif is the power of Nubalong, and then the knowledge of Nubalong is Vedafenir. Because the primordial one, body and soul, is Ether and Luming, representing the sun and the moon. So that's how the primordial one, grand scheme of Tevet, is gonna able to break, the cycle of Tevet and save them from the abyss on the outside and whatever, whatever. But yeah, that's just what I think. But yeah, that's really interesting that it says that in the set of Columbina set. Until that day when a winged descender arrived treading upon the morning star. I genuinely don't know what Morning Star is. Morning Star might actually be the spaceship. And the winged descender, is most likely Ether and Luming. But it was one of them first that obviously got out of it. But yeah, this is like a whole shitload of like lore in these artifact sets. There was also something else because there was who was it? There was another person that made a theory a while ago about the moon wheels. That it's like the powers from the moons and like the basically like the blessing of the moons and Nubelong, giving it to humans so then they have a chance of fighting back against Celestia, which kind of matches up a little bit to what I'm about to read. Um, but yeah, this is the flower part of Kalabina's set. I'm just gonna read the last part. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. But it says, night lowered its gaze upon the earth, just as silver stars once lit the navigational lamps of the dragon celestial ships. Which that's actually really fascinating also. Because it was Ashikai. Ashikai said the thing about the moon wheels. And then she also said a possibility that some dragons were traveling um kind of like from like universe to universe using ships. It was her. So so far, it looks like she's right about some of that stuff she said. But anyways, let me just reread it. Night lowered its gaze upon the earth, just as silver stars once lit the navigational lamps of the dragon's celestial ships. They carry madness and inspiration back beneath the moon answers that order itself could not provide. When it's talking about order, it's talking about the primordial ones like rules. Because this is after he created the false sky when he beat Nubalong. It says that in the first part, but I gotta kind of hurry up and go through all this stuff because I gotta get ready to leave. Um, Then it says, when the morning star rose once more, the high priest, returning from the mountain summit, brought back a tiny sigil of a wheel. This moon wheel became the covenant sworn between the three moons and the people. So she was actually right that well, maybe not the Nubalong part, Well, to be fair, not every single thing is going to be mentioned in a artifact set. Because I'm pretty sure once we meet Nicole again, she'll yap about some stuff. And hopefully Paimon and Varka shut the fuck up. Because I really want to know what Nicole has to say in terms of certain stuff. But anyways, yeah, Ashikar was right. That the moon wheels were from the moons. It was like their blessings given to the people, and then that was like kind of like the weapon to fight back against Celestia. So yeah, it was like a lot of you know leaked stuff that I saw, and then once I saw the artifact sets and well, I didn't read the weapons. The weapons I'll have to read later, but I could not contain myself. I had to. So, yeah, like I said, I think this is the last time I'm gonna forcefully look for animations of people, and I'm just gonna look at it in the live stream. And if it pops up, it pops up. But yeah, because it started with that. Then, like I said, the maps, um, some of the names, even pictures. One of them is the witch's coven. Then the doctor's boss, and then his phases, the stuff that he does. And there's something about Aluga, which, like I said, maybe it's a good thing that I don't remember what it was. But I know it's something about him, other than being the leader of the Lightkeepers. But yeah, that's pretty much it for like mostly everything. Oh, just real quick, because I've seen a couple of theories about stuff from not crying, whatever. Which maybe I'll get to it on a later day. But one of them that's like really, really, really interesting that I want to mention now that I've talked about the moon wheels and all the other stuff. There's this theory. I don't remember who the person. It's either Aru H something. It's either him or Nico Ketswin, something like that. It's either one of them. I don't remember which one. But one of them has this theory that the Snowland Fae, which this part I agree with, because it's basically almost a fact at this point. They just had to literally say it in the game. That the Snowland Fae are the versions of kind of like the Scions, but like the Angels version of the Scions are the Snowland phase. That's basically it, and I agree with that 100%. But anyways, so there's that, and that supposedly because of the Sarista's name that's mentioned in Columbina's drip marketing, there's also what you call it. There's also like some real life ties to like the Russian Empire with like King Nicholas and his family being killed with that mysticism person. I forgot his fucking name. Anyways, but like with them. So they were comparing that real life tragedy to the Snowland Face tragedy, and they think, which makes a lot of sense, but I have my own theory about the Cryo Archon because I still think he's the third descender, but that's a completely different subject. They think that the first Cryo Archon, the Tsar, is the father of the second Cryo Archon, the Sarista, and that the Sarista had three other sisters, and the Tsar was using the third descender to open the gates of Celestia so then they could become like like the new order, basically, like the new rulers of Celestia. And then the Snowland phase would basically kind of like replace the angels, because the angels would just like, you know, did what they did, and then they could like rest like peacefully. Not that the phase would kill the angels. That's not what it is. Is that the angels did what they did, now they could rest, and now the phase could be like the next quote unquote angels. That's what they think. And with like the whole massacre of like the phase and the Tsar dying and whatnot, that they think that that is comparable to King Nicholas, because King Nicholas obviously was the king of Russia. Then he had the four daughters, and then all of them died. One of them supposedly lived on through like a fairy tale, and then that one person who lived on is supposed to be the Sarista that lived on, and then now she's doing what she's doing. But it was like a really interesting theory. And then the part with the third descender opening the gates of like Celestia, he's supposed to be like the counterpart of like the real life version. He's supposed to be that mysticism guy. That mysticism guy told the king of Russia to do all this certain stuff because people is gonna basically like overthrow him and kill him, which basically didn't make any sense because that's exactly what happened. Like regardless, so oh, it was Rasputin. Rasputin. That Rasputin is basically supposed to be almost like the real life counterpart of the third descender, because both of them had the intentions of like being used to open and like do something else. So yeah, that was like a really good theory. So yeah, there was that. Yeah, actually that's just about it. Because there was like some other stuff here and there, but it's like little stuff. And then once I start mentioning that, I'm gonna talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Trying to think of anything else. Because I'm gonna talk about the Game Awards, and then that's it. I'm just gonna end, which is pretty short anyway. Because the Game Awards as a whole, let's actually, it was solid. I'll just leave it at that. It was solid. A lot of the game reveals were stuff I'm personally not interested in, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I'm just not interested in it. Although that last game that they revealed, that was atrocious. I don't know. No, that dude, you had a decent show. The awards were actually pretty good. I'll get into that after, because I know a whole bunch of people complain, which is stupid. But the awards itself was actually pretty good. I think it was very deserving. I don't think anyone got an award that they shouldn't have. Um, but yeah, the last game as a reveal to a pretty decent show is some shooter. Like, oh my god. And it's not like it's some new form of a type of shooter like the cube thing that they talked about in the summer games. Like that's new. It's basically like the same freaking Titanfall. What's the other one that they mentioned? Because it's from the same developer. The Apex stuff. Like it literally looks exactly the same. Like that's how they decided to end the show. Like what? That's That's insane. I cannot believe they ended the show on a shooter That's like another Apex Titanfall type of thing. That's stupid. That's like insanely fucking dumb. But yeah, other than that, all the other stuff were pretty okay. The Star Wars one, it's actually pretty funny because the very first game that they showed for a reveal, it was Star Wars, and I knew it was Star Wars based on how the spaceship landed, like the sound it made. As soon as I heard the sound that the spaceship made, I was like, okay, this is Star Wars. Which is crazy. I don't know if that's like, because I'm not really even into Star Wars like that, but I do know like a pretty decent amount. So like, I don't know. I just found that kind of funny. But yeah, there was that one. There was the racing Star Wars game that's gonna come out. Oh, just on the topic of games coming out, I really like how mostly all the stuff that they show is coming out within the next year. There was only like two or three that's coming out in 2027, but a majority of all of them is coming out next year, which is good. Oh, that Divinity trailer thing, I'm not mad about it. I mean, I'm mad about it not being Elder Scrolls, but I'm not mad that they're making a new Divinity. Because the way they were doing all that stuff, it was like it looked like it was like Elder Scrolls, and then it looked like something else, and then it looked like something else, and then at the end it ended up being Divinity. I was like, okay, like what the hell? Like they completely baited the fuck out of everyone. Oh, Resident Evil 9. Leon is a part of it, and he's the second main character, which that's good. I was really hoping it was Jill, but that's alright. I still hope Jill makes an appearance. And this whole thing about Gideon saying perfect human, I think this is pretty long shot, but I think that Grace's mother, Ash, had a donor baby, which is Grace, and I think they genetically modified Grace to become this quote unquote perfect human, and Gideon was probably a part of it. That's why he's referring to her as a perfect human. And honestly, what would be the perfect human is probably like Evelyn like powers, but like with the Jill Valentine like like traits of like what she does. So I think as a mixture of like Jill and Evelyn mixed into one and Grace. Even though Grace, seems kind of like a wimp, but that's fine. She'll become stronger and stronger throughout the game. But yeah, that's just like a very, very early theory. I have some other stuff, but that's for another time. Um, and then Control. Oh, yes. Dude, I'm so goddamn excited for Control. Like, genuinely excited. Because it starts off with I'm calling it right now. I am calling it. Because in the last game, when Jesse meets Dylan before he goes into that eternal sleep thing that he's in right now, that they talk and then they talk about Jesse and Dylan in other universes, and then how both of them is kind of like the gateway to opening the other universes. So I think what's happening is that the main universe, like the one in the first Control game, I'm gonna consider that the main universe. That one, that Jesse gets corrupted because Polaris gets corrupted. Because when you look at the trailer, it shows like the blue lights of like Polaris, and then it starts showing it red, orange, purple, and then it goes black into the hiss. So that means Polaris somehow got corrupted when it's not supposed to be corruptible. That's a completely different thing. I'm not gonna get into that. But I'm assuming that Polaris gets corrupted. So Polaris gets corrupted, then Jesse gets corrupted. And when Jesse gets corrupted, then that's when we see her walk into the chamber and try to stab Dylan in the heart and kill him. And then most likely probably close all the other portals. And then that's why you play as Dylan from, I'm assuming, a different universe. And then you're probably bouncing around from each place, probably killing that version of Jesse. And then once you kill that version of Jesse, that timeline or portal or whatever you want to call it closes. And then he does that for like every other one until he gets into the main one. And then when he gets into the main one is obviously the stuff that we see in the trailer of him being in Manhattan and fighting all those Hiss people and whatnot. So that's what I think is happening. I think he's being forced to kill the other Jessies to probably like uncorrupt Polaris somehow. I'm not entirely sure how, but that's what I think. Um, yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. Because then they showed some other stuff, like I said, I'm really not interested in, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Oh, the Lego Batman game. I'm worried about the Lego Batman game. Not because of the developers creating it, because of this whole Netflix situation. Because supposedly, Netflix is not really interested in the games of buying Warner Brothers. So if they buy Warner Brothers, what's gonna happen with the games? Are they gonna completely cut it off? Or are they just gonna sell it to someone else? Or are they just gonna have it just to have it? Which they should have it just to have it. I mean, it's more revenue coming in from them. But to have like a I don't care attitude when you're acquiring a company that has multiple stuff, it's a little bit worrying because I don't know if they're gonna completely shut off the games part. So if they do that, then we won't get the new Batman game. So yeah, that's just about it. But we just gotta wait and see. Uh, all right, yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's basically everything that I wanted to talk about. This was a really short stream, but I kind of just wanted to like just blab and yap and vent all the stuff I've been thinking and seeing about and whatnot. So, later, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. If it honestly, I kind of feel the urge to play on YouTube, honestly, because Twitch is it's fine, but I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, tomorrow 100% would be on Twitch because it'll be the new quest. So, but in terms of playing, like what games? I don't know. Maybe I'll do something new. Maybe I'll do a Hitman stream. See how it does on YouTube, then how it does on Twitch. Um, or maybe I'll just do the other gotcha games because I'm still far behind. Because I haven't been playing that like at all, really. I've only been doing like my sister's accounts, trying to get a whole bunch of people and even C6 some people and whatnot. So it's been very time consuming. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm doing other stuff. So, but I really don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's basically all it. So maybe YouTube later. If not tomorrow, definitely Twitch. So if you're interested, you could just stop by. I'll be playing the new quest because that's what I usually do. Every new update, I always go straight right into the quest. I don't even be doing trial. Well, sometimes I do trial characters. Maybe I'll do that first, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just go straight into the quest, not even do the trial characters. So yeah, but I don't know. We'll just see. So yeah, I gotta end. So all right, I'm done.